Okay, so in this class, in this section, we'll be talking about trend lines, okay? The trend line is a very important aspect of Forex. We basically use the trend line to basically check the general direction of price, okay? So when it comes to trend line, we are basically trying to connect lows together or like different points together and trying to understand what the market is trying to do at a particular point in time. So understanding trend line, adding that up to the other technicals will help you to further, make sense out of your trade and know when to opt out of your trade and times to get into a trade as well. So I'm going to share my screen as usual, and yeah. So basically, how does the trend line work? So if you go to your trading view, on the previous class, I basically explained how to, get your trading view running. And so to use your trend line is the second option here. You click, and then you select trend line, okay? Now I've kind of like edited my trend line, but usually if you are to use your trend line, it's okay. Let me mark this as red. Let me use red. So let's say, so the general rule of trend line, okay? So let me just go back to my whiteboard. So basically, in a trend line, you remember the class where we talked about uptrend and downtrend. Basically, in an uptrend, you're looking at what? Higher highs and higher lows. So now I can obviously see lows at this point. So basically, what I use in connecting those lows is called what? The trend line. So the trend line is going to look like something like this. See, that's a trend line. Okay, so the rules for a trend line. Now, for a trend line to stand, okay, number one, it must touch at least 2 points. Emphasis on 2 points. A trend line must touch at least 2 points, and two, it can touch multiple points. So what I mean by multiple points is the minimum you should touch 2 points, and then the total amount it should touch, it can be more than 2 points. It can be 3, it can be 4. The more points it gets to touch, the more perfect this trend line becomes, okay? So basically, that's the rule, okay? So if we go back to our chart now, so let's try to get a trend line. So I can actually draw my trend line at any point, okay? Now I can obviously see it more like, an uptrend forming at this point. So I can see these 2 points, okay? Now, if there is a bounce off this price, let's say the price gets to move in this direction. Okay, so here now we'll be having what? First low, second low, and then we'll be projecting a high. So basically, now there is no limitation to your trend line. I can see first point, I can also choose this point as a trend line, and I take it to the future. Now, the way the trend line works is anything above the trend line means the price is going for buys, and anything below the trend line, you're obviously looking for selling opportunities, okay? But just like in Forex and every other thing in life, you don't just want to deal with trend line only. So you're going to combine your trend line with some other technical analysis tools. You have your Fibonacci, you have your candle formation, and that is all together, mixing that all together is now going to give you that precision you need. So when you are trading, you're always looking to get like multiple confirmation, and trend line is a huge part of that. So okay, so we're in a 1 hour time frame, yeah? And the good thing about that is you can actually draw your trend line anywhere. You might want to scalp and you just look for opportunities, to sell. And I see a point here, I see another point here, and I drag it to the future. Now notice what happened immediately it broke this level, okay? You can see it sold all the way to where? The next level of resistance. So if I take this here, you can see. So this would have guaranteed me some pips, okay? Regardless of how small the amount is, it's still something. That's 8.2 pips. That's for people who want to scalp all the 5 minutes chart, okay? Okay. Now, different ways you can actually draw your trend line at any point. I can draw my trend line here. I can see a point here and then another point here. You see? Okay. And then you sell this all the way to what? The next level of resistance. And you can see what happened here. So that way you would have also taken that little part of the market, which is 10.3 pips. You can see that easily. Okay. Now, even if we were looking at the other areas, you know, you know, that's how trend line works. Okay, so even now that the market is moving, if the market moves in this direction, gets to retest this trend line, then you'll be looking for selling opportunities, okay, to go short. You know, you can sell all the way to what? This next level of going downward. You'll be looking at resistance. So you'll be looking at taking 39 pips off that market. So there are different, you know, you can use the trend line in different ways. All over the market, it's still basically the same thing. If I have to draw this trend line all the way to this point and then drag this all the way to the future, remember, it has to touch 2 points. So this is my first point. This is the second point. I'm talking about the wick in this case. These are the wicks of the candle, okay? So you take that all the way. You see, it found support at this level. And then what happened? It sold down all the way to where? The next level of resistance, okay? You can take your profits here. You see, you can also take your profit at this level. See, so if you're using that as a case study, you would have gotten yourself at least 52 pips off the market. That easy. So trend line basically shows you the general direction of price. You could use it to track an uptrend. In this case, I can see the market printing, you know, lower highs. So connecting these 2 points, that automatically forms a point for me to take my prices up. So seeing this automatically, I already know that, okay, you know what, this price, anything that makes it come below this level, okay, I'll be looking for a short position. I'll be looking for sales, okay? So basically, you know, you can also draw a trend line here, okay? I see these 2 low points. So for me personally, I would have been selling from somewhere here. Now take it all the way to here. That's 52.3 pips. Okay. So yeah, this gives you an idea, like a general idea of how trend lines work. And remember, like I said, you can draw it anywhere. You could draw it on the 5 minutes, you could draw it on the 15 minutes. It's same. I can see point 1, I can see another point here, 2, and then you take it all the way. See, it gives you a selling position. So you sell where? All the way to what? The next level of resistance. So you could take your first take profit here, and then your next take profit here. You can see how that aligns perfectly. Okay, and you keep going down. That would have given you 31.1 pips. Okay, so this basically explains, you know, the idea behind, you know, the trend line and how it works and how you can use it. So with time, you begin to understand how to mix this trend line with other technical parts of Forex and how to add them together to form what you call confluence. You're trying to add up all the different methods of trading to get a balance. So if you're looking to enter a trade, usually I look for 2, 3, 4 confirmations, okay? But the trend line is one of those confirmations. You also have candlestick patterns. You also have your Fibonacci, which is going to be the next lesson. And yeah, by so doing, you can actually get precision in the market because you're not looking to gamble, right? And you can see this. This trend line I connected, this trend line has been broken. And what will you be expecting to see? The market is going to move all the way from this point, at least to this point. Okay? So, yeah, with that, I'll be looking to end my class.